How how will Spencer Rattler impact the New Orleans Saints? Is he a draft day bust, capable backup quarterback, or is he the solution to the Saints' long-term struggle of finding a long-term answer at quarterback? Well, I'm Tim. Let's talk Saints. So the Saints desperately needed to add a capable backup quarterback for as minimal salary as they could. And they may have found one in fifth round pick Spencer Rattler. And it may be more due to a fall from grace he had than actual any football ability he may or may not have or may need to develop in his to get into his NFL career. He's from Phoenix, Arizona, went to Pinnacle High School, was recruited heavily coming out of high school his senior year. 2018 was the last year he played high school football. Eventually signed with Oklahoma in 2019, was there from 2019 to 2021. He started his redshirt freshman year in 2020, played the whole season as a starting quarterback, played very well. But in 2021, he was benched in the game against Texas and ultimately lost the starting job to Caleb Williams, who you remember was the first overall pick this year by Chicago. He transferred out of Oklahoma to South Carolina and played for Shane Beamer in the SEC in 2022 and 2023 and played very, very well on a South Carolina team that, while not super elite in the SEC and not terrible, was just kind of in the middle there, and they could play well at times and they played hard, and he was a leader on that team and played very, very well. But this all kind of came about a fall from grace in moving to South Carolina. More or less from that a Netflix special that called Quarterback One Beyond the Lights. And it was a series that basically followed high school quarterbacks who were heavily in the recruited process on their journey from playing their last year of high school into recruitment and on their way off to college. And full disclosure, I never saw a second of this series, just even though it was even about football, just I'm not kind of interested in that kind of stuff. So I had to kind of rely on some research and written stuff. And this is what I could find, that in that Netflix documentary, he had a suspension for a violation of a code of conduct and ultimately was declared ineligible for the rest of the season at some point for cheating. So I don't know the details. That sounds bad. It definitely doesn't sound good. And that plus the benching at Oklahoma in 2021 and kind of maybe some negative rumblings coming out of how he handled that situation at Oklahoma led up a lot of the NFL scouts and evaluators to kind of lay off of him a little bit. The NFL beat reporters like Ian Rappaport and those guys had mentioned on a more than one occasion that there may have been some reasons for why he fell all the way to the fifth round. There were some red flags there, which that's the obvious weakness, is if there is some type of, for lack of a better phrase, character issue evolving out of that. You don't want that in your quarterback, the guy that's supposed to lead the team. So those red flags kind of gave him a fall from grace, despite the fact that in 2020 and then 22 and 23, when he was a full-time starting quarterback, he was pretty good. And the same evaluators that had kind of red flagged him and possibly caused this slide in the draft, it was basically based on that stuff. Because there really hasn't been much detraction about the stuff that you're looking for in a quarterback in the traits that you want to see. It's varying opinions how well or how not very well he does do things like his arm strength, pocket process, or processing things in the pocket, I should say, his mobility, his mechanics, his footworks, and his overall ability to get in there and run an offense, from getting the play call to communicating the information to the team, to stepping up to the line of scrimmage, to figuring out what was going on and getting out of a play if he needed to, or whatever. This is all very important stuff that you have to do as an NFL quarterback. And there's not, like I said, if there was any knocks on any of that stuff, it was just the development, how well he did it. Does he need to develop more? Is it already at an NFL level? Can it be developed more? That sort of thing. But nobody was really knocking those abilities and saying he can't do it. That's going to make him a bust. I didn't see any of that anywhere. So it really boils down to how much of development, if any, he would need to be ready to come in and play in a regular season NFL football game if something were to happen to Derek Carr. So the impact of Spencer Rattler on the Saints is having a quarterback that can be developed to run the offense. Again, if something were to happen to Carr, because right now Carr is the starter, and you're not paying a lot of money for that ability if he can develop into that. But the real impact is having a quarterback that, like some analysts have said, has NFL starting quarterback potential. Some of these evaluators, the red flags that we were talking about, the Netflix, the Oklahoma benching, all that stuff, wasn't there. There were some that said there may have been some of those quarterback hungry teams in the first round. 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round because teams were so desperate that he possibly could have snuck in there. And a lot of these evaluators are going, his ability is very similar to what a lot of, not all of them, but what a lot of those guys that were drafted in the first round can do. Hence, you hear the Saints got to steal. And that is the really big impact, because if they are correct on the high end of his expectations, the ceiling of what they expect he could do with development, because I don't think anybody's saying he's Joe Burrow or Peyton Manning's going to show up on day one and just, look like an NFL quarterback. But if he can get there, and if he can get there quickly in 2024, beginning of 2025, that would put, just if you had a second guy with some NFL ability. We haven't had that basically since Drew Brees and Teddy Bridgewater 6 years ago. But you're not paying him as a veteran. He's a rookie deal, 4 years, not a lot of money involved. So if he's good enough to push your starter and develops into a true starter, an effective quarterback, notice I didn't say franchise or great, just effective, and pushes the starter off the team and can take over. That is a huge impact. Look what happened in Frisco when Brock Purdy, who has been drawing some similar comps to Spencer Rattler, pushed Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance, veteran quarterback and a former first-round pick, out the door. Now, he was helped by them having some injury issues and getting to see the field. But you hear Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch talk now about Brock Purdy going, we knew that was going to happen eventually anyway, because he was the best quarterback we had on our roster. Just had to throw him in the fire a little quicker than they were planning to, but it worked. He's brought him to an NFC Championship game and then into a Super Bowl in the second year, pushed those two guys right out the door. So Spencer Rattler, and I'm not saying he will, or even if he can, but if he could, that's the real impact. Because now, like Frisco, and Russell Wilson did the same thing once upon a time to Matt Flynn, who was making huge money in Seattle as a free agent signing and never got to start a game because Russell Wilson took his job in training camp as a rookie. 3rd-round pick, I believe, 4th-round pick. So when that happens and you've got your starting quarterback locked down for 4 years under a rookie deal, all of a sudden you've got a lot of money, you've got a lot of opportunity to expand and get other parts of your roster better, especially through free agency, because now you can go pursue some guys. And both those teams did that. Despite continuing to draft well, they used free agency to their benefit. And that's where the Saints, if this would happen, again, not saying it will, or even if it can, but it could. And the real kicker is, I not to distract anything from Spencer Rattler, but if you can't do it, all you're risking is a 5th round pick, a day 3 pick. So it's not like drafting a quarterback in the 1st, 2nd round and then missing and going, oh, shit. You hate losing the draft capital even of a 5th round when you're in the Saints position, but it's not devastating. And if Kool-Aid and Fuaga work out, even if Rattler doesn't, you still come out way, way ahead. So let me know what you think Spencer Rattler's impact will be on the Saints this year. Drop it in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Hit a like, hit a share, hit a subscribe, hit a notification. Until next time, peace out. Who dat?